So all of that goes back to planning, preparation, and then, Ruslan talked about, possibly putting alternative water sources in place early. And certainly, and Walter with WaterFleet, they talked about the conversations they had before the hurricanes hit. The testing was already done, the samples, the initial systems were tested and proven out so that it was pretty much an automatic when the emergency hit. So that's our summary. It was a great group.
Yeah, great technology. Love to see those water fleets out and about. So thanks, Frank. And Wendy, if you could recap, I know you did it all in your session. And because this group is all about tech, I know you're also bringing in tech showcases or tech clearinghouses to this OneWater work that you're doing out in California. If you could just briefly mention that so people are aware of opportunities.
Okay. Well, yeah, so we had an incredible group made up of individuals from all over the globe, a range of personal experiences, but it was a great discussion. We covered how OneWater creates opportunities for public-private partnerships, for closing the loop within the water cycle through reuse, through stormwater capture. We talked a bit about the importance of storytelling and that creating a narrative and achieving a common clear message around OneWater within the industry and outside of the industry can really help the broader public embrace the value of water. We talked about how storytelling, when we, as one of our group members said, sort of flip the script and put some of those sticky issues up front, like equity, for instance, bringing some greater attention and being able to look through that lens, it can really help to inspire change. And lastly, we talked a bunch about innovation and how OneWater can breed innovation, just not only in terms of the way in which people are thinking a little bit differently, but perhaps shifting how municipalities are willing to consider innovative solutions and how they may rethink their sort of institutional policies that perhaps limit them, because OneWater already requires that they shift the way in which they're doing things. So hopefully being able to look at valuing the benefits of innovation around affordability, improved efficiencies, and these sort of things are opportunities that OneWater creates. And we are looking at actually in California in particular, we've been looking at how do we advance innovation. There's a number of municipalities who are very eager to actually move the dial on innovation. And the state is looking at creating a clearinghouse for innovation and exploring different ways in which that they may do that to be able to help municipalities share the lessons learned and the benefits of the innovations that they're testing and evaluating and even implementing. And so, I looped in Mary, and hopefully there's an opportunity for us to move the dial on innovation within the municipal water space.
Yeah, we would love to deploy the Global Waterworks platform and all of these great innovators on your behalf, Wendy. So just, tell California we are ready, and we have the education too to back it up. It's not, we know they don't want to be sold on anything, but they want to have the chance to explore. So hopefully this type of experience could be something we replicate there. And thanks so much for being here. And I'm so thrilled to have solutions that can make the change happen right away. Shannon, can you update us on what happened with our H2O Connected and Droople and your efficient pros like Ed Brady and Peter Mayer?
I didn't go in that group. I was in the group that talked about cyber stuff. And sorry.
That's okay. So I'll go ahead and kind of recap our conversation. And actually, after my recap, I would love to offer Susan and Ramzi the chance to jump in with anything I may have missed or not characterized quite as you would like to characterize it. We actually had a really great conversation. Both Ramzi and Susan presented their work. And I would say not only did we talk about efficiency, but I think it also led to the conversation around scaling and ultimately behavior change. So with Droople, we really looked at how a system can look at all the different assets that are using water, how it can be measured. And actually, in part of my work, we talk about things being measurable and meaningful. How can those metrics, I would say, stimulate behavior change? as well. And so I'll give you a very current example. Ramzi talked about how his platform of Droople, he's partnering with the school and it's measuring hand washing and how that relates to our current pandemic around COVID, and how at the beginning they were able to measure with Droople that the hygiene score was 6 out of 10 for hand washing in this school. Move it forward a few months, we're now looking at a hygiene score of 9 out of 10. And we're seeing a behavior change on the part of students that's affecting, as Ramzi pointed out, not just COVID, but all kinds of forms of health, right? And the ability to promote health and limit transmission. Susan had a fantastic presentation and really also talked about scale, and I think what can lead to behavior change. And her work is really looking at everything from the home and how we, the amount of water, I'm sorry, I have a dog in the background here, how that might change everything from a homeowner's response to a hotel's response, for example. And I would say Susan found and worked with a hotel to find really surprising outcomes within, you know, that kind of return on investment within 60 days. What did they find within a new hotel and water wastage within the first 30 days? So again, you're able to take a product and scale it, and then ideally promote behavior change on the side of the hotel, which leads to fixing toilets and limiting leaks. So those were really inspirational. And we closed out with, we had a great conversation and ran short on time. But we closed out with Susan talking about her conversations right now with the EPA and looking at how we can look at WaterSense and the LEED certification as it relates to water and water efficiency at scale. Ramzi and Susan, would you like to add anything else or clarify anything I've stated?
I think one of the things that we learned through the development process is if you're going to get wide adoption, the solution has to be easy to implement, cost effective, and easy to use. And I think both of a lot of what we discussed are solutions that meet that criteria. Because people have big hearts, but if it's going to cost them a lot of money or it's going to be a pain in the butt to get it to really work, they're not going to use it. And so I think that's something we all really need to keep in mind as we try to solve some of these problems.
You know, we're still up against, like, I'm sorry, I said I wasn't going to talk, but I went into this military world and I got out because I was frustrated, and the commander wanted resilience on these bases I worked at in Nevada. And I said, sir, we have to focus on water. He said, what are you talking about? We have to build bullets for the warfighter. I said, but how many days can you last without clean water? And he said, I don't know, a week or whatever, you know, you can drink your urine. I said, sir, it's 3 days. And the room went quiet. See, nobody knows how critical this is, right?
Right.
That's what this is about. So good point. And Ramzi, anything to add, or are you going to bed in Switzerland?
Sorry, I wouldn't say better than Shannon, so I'm really thankful. She summarized everything very well. Thank you.
Yes, thrilled to have you guys here. And everyone who's here, you can do one-on-ones after meeting too. That's why you have the spreadsheet, and the people are in the community, I just want to point out. And so our group, Water and Waste Management, Brianna, I think you can recap for the team.
Yes, I can. Thank you. So we just talked about the conference itself, which will be held February 24th through 26th, 2021 on a dual platform, so multi-country virtual platform. So anybody can attend and registration is open. There will be lots of business opportunities, I should say. The primary theme is one, water resiliency and zero waste. And then there are 8 tracks, and those are business groups, water and wastewater, women in water and waste management, water and waste management and agriculture, WASH, solid waste, resource recovery and energy, and digital water. And we think we're going to have a really great conference this year. We did talk a little bit about women in water specifically, and the importance of women to the industry as the previous gentleman was just saying, you know, a lot of people do not know about the challenges in water and sanitation. And so I thought that was a great segue for me to quickly share why women are important to water and sanitation, or some of the top reasons. And those would be that, first of all, we don't have enough men that are interested in this industry globally to fill the job openings and gaps that we're seeing. We all know there's a lot of research that says diverse teams outperform non-diverse teams. And then women are the primary users of water and sanitation. They offer unique perspectives when it comes to solutions. So we had a little bit of conversation about potentially some developments that we might see in the women leaders track of the conference this year.
Yeah, and Brianna just launched Her 2.0 International, a wonderful women's movement, and was voted the top woman in the Illinois AWWA group, and now directs her utilities, water quality issues efforts, and actually total treatment, right?
Yeah, drinking water treatment.
Yeah, so has had amazing watershed year. If you want to go hang out with any change agent, tap Brianna.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, no, we have a women in water group. Yeah.
You provide a good example.
Yeah. Well, you know Marianne Dickinson, right? Yeah, probably everybody does.
Marianne Dickinson's great too. Yeah. So 6, I'm sorry, not least, but actually most important with the investments. Where are we at, Barry, if you could recap, and Elise?
Sure, I can start, and then yeah, Elise, please chime in. Yeah, we talked a fair amount about the upfront about the the start of the trading of the futures contract this week on the on the CME, since it was so topical. And I think you mentioned upfront, Mary, but I would recommend that people read that point of view from John at Mazarine. It's just sort of, I think it's a good overview of the potential opportunities that it creates. And John, when he was talking about that, sort of talked about the benefits that they see from that increased price transparency around sort of forecasting tools, and we emphasize as part of that that conversation, and it's really sort of climate forecasting, as opposed to weather forecasting. So as opposed to looking at the next sort of week to 2 weeks, forecasting tools around what the climate is going to be, 1 month, 6 months, a year ahead, and certainly some some not opposing views, but sort of differences of opinion, and I think on probably what's really capable, in terms of how precise that can be. Then the other thing is, they were suggesting there would be tools around valuing land, when you have better information around the quality of the land, coupled with the ability to manage water pricing, how there's going to be that value in that as well. We talked, and then off of that, we had a couple of other topics that we got into was sort of insurance and risk management, and sort of how how important increased ability to forecast and project, how it would be sort of useful in risk management. We sort of talked about utilities, and the potential, impact to utilities from being able to, use this information. And we talked, and I think actually, Elise made the comment that we're not really just talking about water utilities. Also there's other utilities that have a real either use water in their cooling processes, or their stakeholders, stakeholders in the water as well. And we talked a little bit also about the dynamic pricing of water, and what benefits might come from being able to dynamically price it. So we covered a pretty broad cross section of topics, sort of pivoting off the off the new market at the front. So I'll pause there and ask if Elise or others wanted to emphasize other points.
I think you did a superb job. The only thing I would add is that I think there is a wide consensus comparable to what we heard in other breakout sessions, that data is important and we don't have enough of it. that collaboration is important, and we don't have enough of it, particularly at the municipal level, and better supporting each other. And that thirdly, for better or worse, this market is really on the tipping point of a shakeup. And we believe that that's likely to be a shakeup for the better with some new entrants and new players, but that it remains to be seen, and it's probably going to happen faster than we expected.
Well, that's sort of a great concluding point.
Mary, I think I see a hand up. Sorry to interrupt you.
Hi, this is Subarna. I just wanted to chime in here with Barry and Elise's comments that at our company, we are an early stage startup dealing and doing climate prediction, localized climate prediction, which involves predicting rainfall and all the associated, weather and climate variables, but not 5 days ahead, instead weeks, months, and years ahead. And that's the kind of introspection that you need in the data to be able to do some of the things that John, Robinson and Barry and Elise was talking about. So I just wanted to let you know that we are exactly doing what would be a great thing to do in terms of securing or understanding how much of the rain or water would be available for use and reuse through all our activities. And I just wanted to make that point that it's incredibly important.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you for pointing that out. What's your company, Subarna?
Informatics.
Okay, thanks. I'll
Climb
follow up with you
Informatics.
offline, but
Sure, thank you.
thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a great point. And anyone can put your company names in the chat if you want, so that we have the URL correctly. Sometimes it's easy to hear, but not easy to replicate. So, and I noticed I just asked about profiles. The way to connect and do business to advance everything here in the community is to actually share your profile and let people know what your interests are, what your capabilities are, but also include a link into your website so that we can all connect more easily and see each other right away. So I think Elise provided a great summary. We're all advancing this water effort by getting smart about data, by sharing information, breaking down the silos, educating the next generation, bringing the technology to bear with the best practices like Wendy's model and what Aquatic Informatics shared at the start. So our next session will be about getting social. We're going to engage and talk about marketing, and that will be in early, probably late January. And then we'll be moving on to that special event, February 24th and 26th, and a series this spring about getting smart, pathways to resilience with the analysis and the technology. So we hope you'll watch your calendar. Your calendar in the community is a way to see what's going on and also get advanced notification on things. And tap Frank or me if you have questions or ideas for how we grow global water work.